Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be doing analytical geometry, grade 12, but we'll firstly start with grade 11 revision. So here is just a reminder of the different kinds of formulas we used in the previous year in grade 11. So we have to remind ourselves of those formulas before we enter grade 12 material. So we have theorem of Pythagoras. This is the equation based on this sketch. Distance formula, this is the equation also based on this sketch. And then also have the gradient formula, the midpoint of a line segment formula, the points on a straight line, and the inclination of a line. These are the equations and the conditions of inclination inclination of a line based on this sketch over here. Here's a question. The first question says a line joining A, which is x and y, and B, which is minus 3 and 6, has a midpoint M of 2 and 3. Find the value of x and y. So this one is a midpoint for formula 1. So you firstly, what you do is that you write the midpoint formula, which is M x and y. It should give you x1 plus x2 all over 2 into y1 plus y2 all over 2. And then you just plug in your values. You're given that your midpoint is 2 and 3. Then x1 is x plus x2 is minus 3 all over 2 into y1 is y plus 6 all over 2. So what you have here, you have x minus 3 over 2 and you have y plus 6 over 2. It's your midpoint, which is 2 and 3. From here on, you equate the x intercept of this midpoint to the x portion of the equation, and you equate the y intercept of this midpoint to the y part of the equation. So what you'll do, you'll say x minus 3 over 2 must be equals to 2. On the other side, you'll say y plus 6 over 2 must be equals to 3. And then you solve this one. X minus 3 is going to give you 4. Then x is equals to 1. And then you come this side. Y plus 6 will give you 6. And then y is equals to 0. These are your values of x and this is your value of y. So the point A has 1 and 0 as its coordinates. So this will be your answer. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake right here. So this is actually, x will actually be 7, not 1, sorry. So your point A will be 7 and 0. For the second example, you are given 2 points. You are given point A and point B, and you are told to find the length, gradient, and the equation of the line. So firstly, let's start with the length using the distance formula. So we'll say AB is equals to the square root of XA minus XB squared plus YA minus YB squared. Let's plug in our values. For our x at A we have 2, our x at B we have 0 squared plus our y at A is 9 minus our y at B is minus 9. Sorry, it's minus 1. Everything squared. So let's simplify it a bit. So here you'll have 4, and then here you'll have 100. So you'll have the square root of 104, which is the same as 2 root 26. But always remember that this is a distance, so it has to have a unit here. But then since we don't know whether it's in meters or centimeters, you can just say 2 root 26 units. So now let's answer the second part, the gradient part. So you can write the equation of a gradient. A b is equals to ya minus yb all over xa minus xb, and then you plug in your values. So there's going to be 9 minus into minus 1, and then here it's going to be 2 minus 0. So what you have here, you have 10 over 2, which is 5. So your gradient is 5. Now let's answer the final part, which is find the equation of this line. I'll do that right here at the bottom. Remember, the equation for a straight line is given as y is equals to mx plus c. So for this one, I'll choose point B. Let me choose point B. At point B, my y is minus 1. My gradient, I already calculated it. Here it is, it's 5. My x at point B is 0 plus c. So the value of my c is going to be minus 1. Therefore, the equation to this line is given as y is equals to 5x minus 1. Here's your equation to the line. For question 3 is inclination of an angle. So just a quick recap. Remember that the inclination of an angle on a line is the angle that specific line makes with the positive x-axis. Remember that? The positive x-axis. So the angle a line makes with the positive x-axis, that's your inclination angle. And then the equations of calculating that inclination angle is this. You take the gradient of that line and then you turn it, and then it has to give you the value of your A. So for the inclination of this line, Pn is going to be the gradient of Pn tan theta. That theta would be our inclination angle. But then it happens that the gradient you are given, or the gradient of the line you are trying to find the inclination of, it's less than 0, meaning that it's negative. You still use the same formula, but then at the end you'll get a negative answer. That negative answer simply illustrates to you that instead of calculating the angle that line makes with the positive x-axis, the answer you have is the angle that line makes with the negative x-axis. So all you have to do is to add 180 degrees, because angles on a straight line always add up to 180 to get the angle you're looking for, which is the one where the line makes with the positive x-axis. We'll see with the following question. The question says find the inclination of a line with these points: A, minus 5 and 2, B, 3 and minus 1. The first thing you do, you draw the sketch of these points so that you have an idea of what's happening here. So from the sketch, I can clearly see that this angle I'm looking for, it's an obtuse angle. Why? Because it's greater than 90 degrees. So if I calculate and I find an angle smaller than 90 degrees, I know that I actually found the adjacent angle, which is the angle that this line makes with the negative x-axis, but I'm looking for the one with the positive x-axis. So all I have to do is to add 180 degrees. Let's do this question. So let's calculate our gradient. So the gradient of AB will give you ya minus yb all over xa minus xb. What's my y at A is 2 minus my y at B is minus 1. All into my x at A is minus 5 minus my x at b is 3. You'll get a gradient of minus 3 over 8. That's your gradient. From then on, you can use this equation. So here it's going to be the gradient of AB is equals to the tangent of this angle. So it's going to be minus 3 over 8 is equals to the tangent of this angle. And then after you've plugged the values into your calculator, you'll find out that this angle theta, it's minus 20.6 degrees. It's minus 20.6 degrees. So from this diagram you drew, you can clearly see that this angle is not this one, because this one is clearly greater than 90 degrees. And as I said, if it's a negative, it means that you found the adjacent angle. So the angle we found is actually this one. It's not this one. So all you have to do now is that you add 180 to this one to get the inclination you are looking for, because the angles on a straight line always add up to 180. So our actual answer is actually 180 degrees plus this minus 20.6 degrees. And then our angle of inclination will get 159.4 degrees. That's the answer we're looking for. This is this angle. Thank you. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and share.